In the All Attributes cultivation room, after Song Kai assumed the standard posture for the guidance technique, spectral energy began to circulate throughout his body, and at the same time, the rich spectral energy in the entire room also continuously infused into him. His cultivation session lasted only a quarter of an hour. Once he confirmed the circulation speed of the spectral energy within his body, he immediately ceased the practice of the guidance technique. Now was not the time to practice the guidance technique. There were more important matters awaiting him. Upon leaving the All Attributes cultivation room, Song Qi's eyes sparkled with intense delight. After this short period of testing, he had basically determined the changes in his practice speed after the improvement of his genetic bloodline from a normal 20 points to over 30 points. Overall, his cultivation speed had increased by roughly 25% compared to before the genetic optimization. One must not underestimate this 25%. It wasn't a simple addition to the increase from his original cultivation speed, but a proportional multiplication with the bonus provided by the All Attributes cultivation room. For example, the All Attributes cultivation room at level 28 offered a 1960% enhancement to spectral energy cultivation, and now, with this additional 25% increase, his actual cultivation speed was not 1985% but a notable 2450%. The difference was quite evident. After his joy, Song Qi's thoughts turned, and he considered whether to sell this blood bodhi extract in the ruins market thereafter. After pondering for a moment, he ultimately shook his head and dismissed the idea for now. The blood bodhi was, after all, a unique resource of the blood bodhi floating land, and the floating land was tightly controlled by his family in the Golden Lion Marquis Mansion, making consistent supply challenging. Moreover, the family themselves were in dire need of it and had strictly forbidden its trade. There was simply no necessity. And as mentioned before, the use of blood bodhi was greatly limited. Aside from the lowest class of ordinary starry sea creatures, it only had a certain effect on those beings or groups whose bloodlines were already at some limit, thus the actual market was limited. As for the point that ordinary life form groups accounted for more than 80% of the starry sea communities, when facing such ordinary alien races, he found it difficult to set a price. Setting it too low would be a thankless task for himself, and setting it too high would be out of reach for such ordinary beings. Considering all these factors, Song Kai therefore abandoned the idea of retrieving a part of that million blood bodhi extracts from the storage. After vigorously moving about in the free stall area and slowly adjusting his state, he gradually adapted to the changes in his body. Half a day later, once his condition had returned to its peak, Song Kai retrieved a divine tempering fruit from his storage capsule. This fruit, like any normal one, was simply eaten directly. Compared to the slightly sweet blood bodhi, the divine tempering fruit was somewhat sour but overall not unpleasant to eat. Of course, Song Kai had no time to dwell on this matter. Right after swallowing the divine tempering fruit, he immediately sat cross-legged on the ground, his mind sinking deep into his brain as he began to visualize the Dragonspine Tyrant Whale, mythical mech projection imprint blueprint. Although waiting normally would also work, having the visualization diagram would improve the effect, so naturally, he wouldn't waste such an opportunity. With the cultivation secret realm, there would be a continuous supply of divine tempering fruits in the future, but no matter what, the effect of the first fruit was always the best, and he had to seize the opportunity. His sixfold spiritual force converged above the mech armor projection over his head, with Song Kai distinctly feeling the swift depletion of his spiritual force. However, it didn't take long before a tremendous surge of soul power flowed into his ancestral aperture from within his body, and suddenly, his mind became exceptionally clear. Knowing that the clearer the visualization of the mythical mech projection, the more potent the effect of the divine tempering fruit, he hesitated no further before activating his limit-breaking state. Once he officially entered the limit-breaking state, the sixfold mind utilization instantly increased to sevenfold mind utilization. This caused an even more astonishing rate of spiritual force consumption, but the immense soul power provided by the divine tempering fruit continued to replenish him. In this ebb and flow, Song Kai could distinctly feel his spiritual force steadily increasing. Time passed, and when Song Kai emerged from his visualization state, the effect of the divine tempering fruit had long since dissipated, and he also realized that his limit-breaking state had ended without him noticing. But at that moment, he discovered something remarkable. His thoughts had increased from 6 to 7, achieving the sevenfold mind utilization in his ordinary state, not just when overloaded under the limit-breaking state. Sevenfold mind utilization, indeed. At this moment, the joy in Song Chi's heart couldn't be expressed with words. He could only contain his elation and quietly familiarize himself with the state of sevenfold mind utilization. Meanwhile, the words, divine thought state, echoed in the depths of his heart. Sixfold mind utilization to ninefold mind utilization belonged to the third stage of the ordinary thought state. But to step into the divine thought state, which endowed the ability to comprehend the laws and even control mythical mechs, one must achieve tenfold mind utilization. With that thought, Song Chi's eyes twinkled with anticipation. Now, if I could utilize sevenfold mind utilization, then after the third life sublimation, I should be able to further divide out 2 more thought threads, achieving ninefold mind utilization. With this, when I activate the limit-breaking state, I would just be able to touch the scope of the divine thought state. Although I can't maintain it for a long time, being able to do so as soon as I step into the third rank is still very satisfying to me. It's just that I don't know if I could divide out another thought by using a few more divine tempering fruits afterward. Clenching his fists tightly, Song Kai suppressed his somewhat accelerated heartbeat and turned to leave the ruins market. Though the power of his spirit gained a new breakthrough through the divine tempering fruit, maintaining the limit-breaking state for a long time meant that he was extremely exhausted at this moment. He needed to recover overnight, so the second divine tempering fruit would have to wait until tomorrow. The next day, Song Kai, awakening from a deep sleep, took the second divine tempering fruit as planned. However, the result was as expected. The effect was far weaker than the first one. In fact, the outcome far exceeded his expectations. The effect of the second divine tempering fruit was merely a third of the first one's, not even half. With such a result, it was natural that Song Chi's mood was not great. Indeed, it's not very realistic to rely on the divine tempering fruit, a high-rank divine soul resource, to enhance the power of the spirit multiple times. You have to understand that this was only the second fruit. If he were to consume a third or fourth one afterward, the effect would probably diminish to an unimaginable extent. In such a case, even if he used more divine tempering fruits in the future, it would likely be impossible to continue enhancing the power of the spirit. Sighing lightly, Song Kai quickly stopped dwelling on it. He was somewhat prepared for this fact since, if it were so easy to enhance the power of the spirit, torch ship captains at the third rank who control the power of laws would probably not be so rare. He could only think of other methods in the future. As for temporarily controlling the spirit in the divine thought state with the limit-breaking state, he would never allow himself to just stop there. Time flew by quickly, with several days passing in the blink of an eye. It's still the white jade square at the foot of the Dragonspine Sacred Mountain, but compared to the last time's huge crowd, the number of clan members gathered this time was much fewer. It wasn't out of a loss of interest in the upcoming sequence battles, but that the clan's higher-ups didn't proactively reveal information about this second phase. The chaotic scene last time apparently left an impression on the clan's higher-ups. With the clan already short of hands, the higher-ups were not keen on seeing clan members setting aside their tasks to cheer for the sequence battles, hence the current situation. In the sky above the square, it was still the Kang Mang Wuji, the torch ship of the family head, but this time, Song Kai and the other 10 did not enter the ship. Instead, they each summoned their own flagship, quietly hovering around the Kang Mang Wuji. At that moment, 10 matching light bands shot out from the body of the Zhulu warship, firmly binding the flagships of Song Kai and the 10 others, and then started the charging process for spatial transmission to the alien star domain. Inside the Kang Chong, Song Chi's eyes revealed a hint of surprise. The ability to release 10 matching light bands at once implied that the quality of this special fitting device installed on the flagship of family head Song Xuanchang was not low. It should be more than purple, at least an orange quality warship fitting device. A strong sense of dizziness came over him, and before he could think further, the 11 warships vanished from the sky above White Jade Square. Evil Buddha Continent, 100 Arms Domain, Desolate State. As the most desolate state within the 100 Arms Domain, Desolate State is a rare barren land on the 7th rank Starry Sea floating land of the Evil Buddha Continent. Due to its lack of resources, population, and even scarce spirit meat mountains, there are hardly any living beings here. Even those ubiquitous corrupt spirits and evil spirits are very rare in Desolate State. Nearly 10,000 meters underground, within a vast subterranean space, 10 torch warships appeared silently amidst violent spatial fluctuations. Once they could see their surroundings clearly, Song Kai and the others felt a sense of surprise. It looked like they had been directly transported inside a mountain or underground, which was clearly different from the usual transmissions into open space. Although this space was not small, compared to the vastness of outer space, such a limited space was undoubtedly more dangerous. Knowing what everyone was thinking, the family head Song Xuanchang explained. This evil Buddha continent is considered top tier among the 7th rank life-based floating lands, where the number of great 7th rank beings is not limited to 1. Add to that the star-annihilating starships from the Yaohan Kingdom above us as well as from the Violet Kingdom. The number of 7th rank beings converging here is probably close to 10. With such a terrifying lineup, let alone direct transmission to the vault of the floating land, even if we were to transmit outside of the starry space, once we officially enter the evil Buddha continent afterward, we would still be discovered by those 7th rank beings, and our lives would be at their mercy. Then, scanning the enclosed space, Song Xuanchang continued. The clan specially constructed several layers with hidden spirit stones in this underground space to insulate the spatial fluctuations produced by interstellar domain transmissions, thereby avoiding attention that those 7th rank beings might cast. Upon hearing this explanation, everyone quickly understood. Just what kind of divine skills do cosmic powerhouses of the 7th rank possess? Song Kai and others, of course, did not know. Their origins were still considered quite decent, but Dingai's Song family was, after all, merely a 5th rank force, and the 5th rank ancestors in their clan were usually highly elusive, with secretive whereabouts. If even a 5th rank presence was rare to encounter, how could they speculate about the existence on the level of a 7th rank? Beings of such a caliber were already crowned as dominators in the shattered starry sea, superpowers that could look down upon boundless river domains. The abilities they could control were simply beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. Therefore, since the family head and the clan's higher-ups had these concerns, there naturally was a necessity for them. No one would overly question them. Just as everyone had different thoughts, the voice of the family head Song Xuanchang once again filled the air. All right, don't fret over this matter. It's merely one of the methods our clan uses to avoid danger. In fact, even if we were directly sent to the vault of heaven of the continent, the likelihood of being discovered by those beings is pretty slim. 7th rank dominators are indeed mighty, but the evil Buddha continent is not just for show. A 7th rank floating land, large enough to fit countless of our dragonspine continents. Hearing this, the 10 people including Song Kai had a flicker in their eyes, and their minds stirred greatly, especially Song Kai. What did it mean to be able to fit countless dragonspine continents? As a citizen of Blue Star in his former life, with decades of life experience setting his perceptions, the thought of the dragonspine continent's terrifying size with a diameter of 10 light years was already enough to overturn his original understanding. A starry sea continent of 10 light years in size, who would believe that in his former world? Now, according to what the family head said, the evil Buddha continent seemed much larger than imagined. Initially, Song Kai had guessed it to be at most around 1,000 light years in size, but now it seemed to be far more, probably at least 10,000 light years. 10,000 light years, what kind of concept was that? The Milky Way galaxy, where Blue Star was located in his previous life, had a diameter of only about 100,000 light-years. The thought that a continent floating in the starry sea could be terrifying enough to compare with the galaxy of his former world made it tough to calm Song Chi's heart. But before he could think too much, the voice of family head Song Xuanchang rang out again. Even the perceptive range of a 7th-rank lifeform is but a drop in the ocean compared to the entire evil Buddha continent. Therefore, you need not proceed tentatively in your subsequent actions. The 100 Arms domain is an extremely remote area on the evil Buddha continent. The closest 7th-rank dominator is thousands of light-years away. The little disturbance you made won't reach their eyes. After saying this and seeing the expressions of the 10 people on the projection screen relax a bit, Song Xuanchang brought the topic back to the mission of this sequence struggle. Alright, this is the mission information for the second phase of your sequence struggle. Take a look at it. As soon as he finished speaking, the warships of Song Kai and the other 9 almost simultaneously received a piece of information. Upon opening this information, everyone quickly got the details within. Sect. Evil Zen Temple location. Blood Zen state in the 100 Arms domain. Cultivation method. 8-armed Arhat Blood Zen technique. Members. 2 half-step 4th-rank members from the evil Buddha clan. Half-body blood Arhats. Over 23rd rank members from the evil Buddha clan, and over 1,000 below the 2nd rank. Surprisingly, the information in this document was not extensive, only containing an introduction to a branch of the evil Buddha clan's Buddhist sect within the 100 Arms domain. As everyone puzzled over this, Song Xuanchang's timely explanation came through. This Blood Zen temple is a branch of the 100 Arms Buddha sect, the largest force of the evil Buddha clan in the 100 Arms domain. Inside it resides an evil Buddha Sharira left by a 5th-rank ghost bodhisattva. Your mission this time is to obtain this piece of orange top-quality strange object that has become a bodhisattva Sharira. At this, the eyes of all 10 tightened simultaneously, and various thoughts flashed through their minds. Song Chi's expression did not change, but a trace of solemnity welled up inside him. According to the information provided by the family, there were 2 half-step 4th-rank beings in the evil Zen temple, which was the most worrisome aspect. Although the defenses of Torch warship Kongchong had been verified to barely resist a direct confrontation with the 4th rank, would it be the same in the evil Buddha continent? As creatures indigenous to the evil Buddha continent, members of the evil Buddha clan were favored by the land, blessed by the source rules of this 7th-rank starry sea floating land beneath their feet. Could they simply be regarded as typical half-step 4th-rank beings? The answer was obviously no. The rule enhancement from a 4th-rank floating land could not be compared to the source rule enhancement from a 7th-rank floating land. It must be understood that even the 5th-rank Dragon Spine continent, under the enhancement of its source rules, allowed members of the Song family to fight above their class, using 4th-rank combat power to battle against the 5th rank, let alone the evil Buddha continent, which was a 7th-rank floating land. Even if the main adversary was merely at half-step 4th rank. Although this was related to the formidable individual combat power of the Torch civilization's Torch warships, Song Kai surmised that, under the enhancement of the evil Buddha continent, at least the 2 half-step 4th rank beings of the evil Zen temple possessed the combat power at the peak of the 4th rank, and might even be touching the threshold of the 5th rank. It wasn't just Song Kai, everyone present understood this point, hence the momentary silence. Song Xuanchang, however, did not add anything further. Without facing some real challenges, how could they force out everyone's hidden strengths? And how to select the truly suitable family sequence? These whelps, each of them played their cards closer to their chest than the last. In that previous mission at the Blood Bodhi floating land, only a few had revealed their true power. Thinking this, Song Xuanchang's indifferent eyes unintentionally swept over the virtual projections of Song Kai and Song Bei, before he continued. All right. You all have 2 months from now to use whatever means necessary. The 3 individuals who contribute the most to acquiring that Buddha Sharira will successfully pass this 2nd rank test. Having said this, the Skyking Chaser, Zhulu warship that hovered above everyone began to shrink gradually. This nearly 4,000-meter-long warship ultimately transformed into a miniature form and was absorbed into the forehead of Song Xuanchang, who was levitating in the void of this underground space. Not giving anyone time to react, a circle of spectral energy flared around Song Xuanchang and rapidly spread outwards. In the next second, his figure disappeared abruptly, only to reappear in a corner of the underground space, where the exit channel was located. With Song Xuanchang's figure completely vanishing from the underground space, the remaining 10 members of the Song Kai group fell into a brief silence. About 10 seconds later, Song Zi's voice was the first to sound in the warship's group communication channel. "Fellow clan brothers, I believe we all have our own trump cards, and our flagships possess extraordinary combat power. However, the floating land origin beneath our feet is of the 7th rank, offering a level of rule enhancement far beyond our imagination. Those two half-step 4th rank members of the Evil Buddha clan undoubtedly possess the combat power of the peak of the 4th rank." Hearing this, although everyone had already guessed it, the atmosphere became extra tense. It's important to realize that our current flagships are only of the 2nd rank, and though we have cruisers, there are only 3. We might stand a chance against units barely stepping into the 4th rank, but against 2 with peak 4th rank combat power, there's no doubt, it's impossible. Next to Song Zi, Song Gang, who originated from the ancestral veins, spoke indifferently. "What are you trying to say?" Song Zi didn't beat around the bush and shared his thoughts. "To secure the Buddha Sharira from under the noses of 2 members of the Evil Buddha clan with peak 4th rank combat power, I believe no one can do it alone. Therefore, we must cooperate. After all, the final spots for this mission are not just 1. You all can show off your skills as you please. As for the final contribution ranking, I trust the clan will have their own judgment. There's no need for us to argue. What do you think?" Unsurprisingly, Song Zi's words received the agreement of most people, and Song Kai was no exception. With the Kang Chong, he was confident that he could hold out for a while against those 2 half-step 4th rank members of the Evil Buddha clan, but if he were to be distracted searching for the Buddha Sharira, it would be difficult. After all, the Evil Zen Temple still had dozens of 3rd rank members of the Evil Buddha clan. Under the enhancement of the floating land origin rules, these beings could rival those barely stepping into the 4th rank. A single 4th rank void demon would not be able to handle this. I think it's feasible. We must act together. Peak 4th rank combat power is not something any one of us can confront head-on. After a few words, everyone quickly agreed to the joint action, and no one refused. Having decided on the joint action, they once again discussed more detailed planning for their next steps. Not to mention anything else, at least they would have to make meticulous arrangements for the upcoming battle against the 2 half-step 4th rank members of the Evil Buddha clan. For example, who would be responsible for the frontal engagement, who would handle long-range control, fire support, and who would enter the Evil Zen Temple to search for the Buddha Sharira, etc. These had to be pre-arranged. Song Zi again took the initiative to speak. His status, strength, and eloquence inadvertently made him the center of the 10 people. Of course, how many of the other 9 were content to play a supporting role was something only they knew. Let's start by making specific arrangements for the upcoming battle. Does anyone have a flagship that excels in defense? In the communication projection, everyone's gaze flickered, but no one volunteered to speak. After all, that was the combat power of the peak of the 4th rank, who would willingly take on the most dangerous role. However, everyone understood that engaging the enemy head-on might be perilous, but it was indeed the most likely avenue to secure contributions. It was precisely because of this that after careful consideration, Song Kai volunteered to step forward. Seeing his sudden offer, the majority were extremely surprised. It took no small amount of courage to volunteer for this task. Beyond that, everyone's gaze towards Song Kai gradually changed. Being listed as a candidate by the clan's upper echelon, they believed his flagship must possess unique qualities. Moreover, His offer to step forward signified that Song Kai had some confidence in withstanding attacks from peak 4th rank adversaries. Just this fact alone was enough to command everyone's respect. Yet even with Song Kai taking the lead, no second volunteer stepped forward. Song Zi seemed unsurprised by this and continued with a smile. Seeing as that's the case, I'll join forces with clan brother Kai. Ever since the immortal puppet secret realm, I've been looking forward to fighting side by side with my clan brother. Now, at last, I can get my wish. He then turned his gaze to the other Eiza communication projections. Clan brother Kai and I will handle the first round of engagement, but we will need 2 more to relieve us. Our 2 escort ships don't have the capability to tangle with 2 5th rank combat power adversaries to the end. After this, the remaining 8 were much more proactive. Song Gang and another clan member with an orange warship armor volunteered to take over. With Song Kai and Song Zi conducting the initial probe, everyone could get a detailed understanding of the 2 half-step 4th rank members from the Evil Zen Temple and thus prepare accordingly. This was a lot easier than what Song Chi's duo had to face. Apart from the 4 clanspeople who took on the entangling fight, the remaining 6 were split into 2 groups, with 2 of them responsible for battlefield control and also providing fire support, and Song Bei was among these 2. His flagship was equipped with those special components for fixed-point control, making it highly suitable for field control. As for the last 4, 3 of them took on the task of dealing with the dozens of 3rd-rank Evil Buddha clan, and the other one entered the depths of the Evil Zen Temple to search for the Buddha Sharira. Of course, this was under the assumption that the Buddha Sharira was indeed within the Evil Zen Temple and not carried on the person of those 2 half-step 4th-rank Evil Buddha clan members. Once they had arranged everything, the 10 of them did not linger any longer in this underground space. 2 months might sound like a long time, but strictly speaking, it was barely enough, considering the time needed for their journey. By the time they arrived at Blood Zen State, they still had to further understand the various situations within the Evil Zen Temple on the ground, leaving them with truly insufficient time. As they understood it, the 100 Arms domain sprawled nearly 0.1 light-years in size, which was not much smaller than a 4th-rank starry sea floating land. The desolate state under their feet was far from the Blood Zen State, and just the journey there would take a considerable amount of time. Of course, the information provided by the family included a suitable spatial jump point. They could first jump to an area tens of millions of kilometers from the Evil Zen Temple, which would save them 99% of the travel time. 3 cruisers and 7 escort ships were summoned back in succession. The entrance to this underground space opened by the family was a fissure only a few meters wide, making it impossible to directly maneuver a warship in and out. Walking through the dark passage, Song Kai and the others furrowed their brows. They had just recalled the Torch warship not long ago when they felt that exceedingly uncomfortable atmosphere emanating all around them. This atmosphere is hard to describe with a single word. Bloody, gloomy, putrid. It's as if a mix of many negative scents had merged together. Moreover, Song Kai also felt that the environment around him seemed a bit peculiar. The light appeared to be exceptionally dim, not the kind of gloominess that comes with nightfall, nor was it related to their location in the underground fissure. It seemed more like the entire world was cast in a dark hue. Although this was just a special environment without any direct impact on them, being in it gave Song Kai a sensation of extreme oppression at the bottom of his heart. They didn't know how long they walked, but the 10 people ascending at an incline finally reached the end of the narrow passage. The view suddenly opened up, and they now stood upon a vast expanse of land. However, as everyone's gaze swept around, their hearts uniformly skipped a beat. Gazing into the distance, the barren land of dark red stretched endlessly, a blood-red sun hung across the sky, and sanguine sunlight enveloped the entire land, rendering the continent at their feet even more sinister. At the edge of their vision in the far distance, towering fungal mountains of grotesque flesh stood upon the land, and gigantic creatures with fat heads and large ears, each several kilometers tall and holding Buddha beads, sat around these flesh mountains. Dark mysterious runes circulated around them, acting like solemn guardians on vigilant watch, protecting these odd flesh mountains from the prying eyes of external evil spirits. Upon seeing this scene, a shiver ran through all 10 people including Song Kai. Fungal flesh mountains, 4th rank evil Buddha. They had already learned about these through the information given by Song Xuanchang, but the sight before their eyes still left them unable to remain calm. After all, compared to the half-step 4th rank evil Buddha clan they would later face, these true 4th rank evil Buddha clan were much more terrifying. With the floating land origin rules enhancing them, they possessed the combat power of a veteran 5th rank, and even a blow struck from afar could likely cripple their flagships outright. The crowd did not recover from their shock for a long time, as what they had seen in the blink of an eye, although heard of in past records, was utterly different when witnessed firsthand. Song Qi's gaze rested on a colossal, blood-red mountain of flesh thousands of meters high in the distance, more specifically, on a 4th rank member of the evil Buddha clan seated not far from this flesh mountain, distinctly resembling the image of the Buddha in the ancient tale, Journey to the West. Apart from the 3-kilometer stature of this 4th rank being, its appearance was not much different from that of the ordinary human race, except for its belly, head, face, and ears, which were all a size larger. It sat beside the blood-red mountain of flesh, its hands resting on its knees, the left hand clutching a massive string of Buddha beads. What captured Song Qi's attention was the bone-white string of Buddha beads in its hands. To call them Buddha beads was a stretch, as they looked more like glowing phalanges, and even though they were suitably massive for its 3-kilometer frame, Song Kai could still discern that they were definitely human finger bones. Originally, these phalanges must have been different, nurtured over a long period by the Buddha power within this 4th rank evil Buddha clan member, transcending the category of ordinary phalanges and transforming into spiritual phalanges capable of changing size at will. Song Kai even suspected that with a few hundred to 1,000 years more waiting, these spiritual phalanges might morph again into truly strange object phalanges. Not just Song Kai, everyone felt their hearts tremble at this thought. They were of course aware that there were many human race kingdoms within the evil Buddha continent and were also clear about the dire situations of the human race under the control of the evil Buddha clan, but now, through this string of phalanx Buddha beads, everyone realized that their previous thoughts were too naive. This was far worse than mere hardship. Perhaps every human race kingdom on this continent was intentionally farmed by the evil Buddha clan, ready to be used as blood food or as materials for crafting instruments at their whim. After all, just this string of Buddha beads alone bore no fewer than a 4-digit number of phalanges, and around the other flesh mountains nearby, there were also many evil Buddha clan members, each similarly holding a string of such Buddha beads in their hands. Thinking of this, the already oppressive atmosphere grew even heavier, but there was nothing they could do about it. All these strange emotions were captured by an unseen presence. In the dim unknown space, a chuckle was heard. Indeed, they are still children, too inexperienced. Although they are of the same starry sea human race, how different are they from torchlight humanity or the alien race? Such pity must not be had. These young ones are at most in their 40s, and with more experience in the future, they will come to know all this. But will this plan truly work? Will the 100 Arms Buddha sect really make a move? We have to try. Otherwise, with only Ru Zhu alone, we can't deal with the 100 Arms Buddha sect. Be careful, and try not to look directly at those 4th rank evil Buddhas. Although they have been controlled by that Lingzi flesh mountain, their divine skills as evil Buddhas have not disappeared. With the enhancement of the floating land origin rules, it is very likely. As everyone regathered their senses, Song Zi immediately summoned his flagship and also called out to the others around him, but his warning still came too late. Anger. An eerie curse words emitted from the mouth of the closest 4th rank evil Buddha clan member, crossing the vast distance, and directly echoed in everyone's mind. In an instant, several who hadn't summoned their warships yet were stupefied on the spot. The curse words seemed to have infinite magical power, not only shaking their spiritual state but also rapidly condensing above their mental lakes. Once this curse word fully materialized, everyone would become complete puppets of that distant fourth-rank evil Buddha clan member. Of course, since it was already a puppet itself, it amounted to being controlled by the Lingzi Flesh Mountain. Inside the flagship, Song Zi's expression changed subtly. Of course, his flagship was equipped with a spiritual guard component, and it was even orange grade. With the protection of this component, the evil curse sound from outside did not penetrate the interior of the warship. However, the issue was that this component did not have outward protective features. Turning to look, Song Kai, who had almost simultaneously summoned his flagship, was also unaffected. Kai clan brother, do you have a way? Song Kai could only shake his head. Whether it was the orange grade, Tai soul suppressing steel, or the blue grade, abnormal status purifier, both were only effective inside the ship. As for the active, soul subduing steel feature of Tai soul suppressing steel, it only affected him as the captain and could not be applied to others. With a thought, 8 Void Assassin clan soldier figurines from the Kongchong emerged and approached the 8 petrified individuals below. Song Kai was going to try to see if he could physically awaken the group. But at that moment, Song Gang among the 8 snorted lightly. His face was slightly pale, but he successfully pulled himself out of the soul-capturing state. Song Kai and the other were relieved. It seemed that the spiritual guard component in his flagship was able to influence externally. Without needing to speak, Song Gang quickly summoned his own flagship. At the same time, with a thought, a subtle ring of light spread from his third eye area, soon enveloping the other 7. As the ring of light appeared, the curse words that were gradually solidifying above the mental lakes of the other 7 dissipated. When they recovered from the soul-capturing state, a touch of fear emerged in everyone's minds, and their view of the terror of the evil Buddha continent reached new heights. Having received warnings from their clans in advance, their respective warships were naturally equipped with the necessary components. Still, they had not expected to encounter such peril within less than 2 minutes of recollecting their warships, which was far beyond their expectations. As everyone quickly summoned their flagships and a communication group chat was established, they heard Song Zi saying, "Everyone, unless it's necessary, try not to leave the warship." Hearing this, everyone nodded repeatedly, deeply agreeing. Hum hum hum. 10 warships activated their engines one after another, flying towards the direction of Blood Zen state, not daring to fly too high, all skimming at low altitude. According to the information provided by the family clan, there are countless strange creatures on the evil Buddha continent. If not necessary, high-altitude skimming is prohibited, as it may attract the attention of unknown existences. While skimming, they could still occasionally see one blood-red Lingzi flesh mountain after another, some tall and some short. But for those flesh mountains that were thousands of kilometers high, Song Kai and the others no longer dared to look directly at them for fear that they might inadvertently trigger a response from those flesh mountains or the evil Buddha. Regarding these strange flesh mountains, actually everyone was not surprised, as the family clan's information had already stated this beforehand. According to the information provided by the family clan, these blood-colored flesh mountains were called Lingzi Flesh Mountains, which, like the evil Buddha clan, were representative species of the evil Buddha continent. Indeed, these Lingzi Flesh Mountains were a type of creature with their own consciousness, capable of continuous growth and evolution. No one knew where they came from. They only knew that these things could grow on every inch of land in the evil Buddha continent. When they first burrowed out from the ground, they might only be several meters high but would emit a special scent to attract unknown evil spirits, fallen beings, or members of the evil Buddha clan to come and devour or control them, thus continuously growing and evolving. What made everyone so apprehensive was the number of these Lingzi Flesh Mountains, especially the high-rank ones. In Kongchong, Song Kai controlled the warship closely following the group while dividing his attention to check the radar screen beside him, his expression not looking good. On the Silver 3 generation Superwave magical energy detection radar, they could see these strange flesh mountains everywhere, including medium to large Lingzi flesh mountains that were thousands of kilometers high and emitted energy fluctuations at the 4th rank level. At this moment, Song Kai didn't even know what to say. Those fourth-rank existences, which he remembered as lofty beings, were everywhere on the evil Buddha continent, and this was just the extremely barren 100 Arms domain. So this is a level 7 floating land. No wonder our family clan is so cautious here, fearing any missteps. The group kept their distance from those flesh mountains above 1,000 kilometers, continuously heading towards the designated spatial jump points. On the evil Buddha continent, spatial jumps couldn't be activated just anywhere. After all, activating one requires a period of buffering, during which any external influence can cause the jumping warship to potentially get lost in the spatial jump corridors. As for why they didn't perform the jump directly from the previously mentioned underground space, no one asked, as everyone clearly understood in their hearts that since the family head hadn't mentioned it and had marked 2 corresponding jump coordinates, they were to use these 2 coordinates for the jump. The reason, after all, was to let them experience the environment of the evil Buddha continent in advance to avoid being caught off guard later on. If they were influenced near the underground space, the clan elders hidden nearby could promptly intervene. After skimming for tens of millions of miles, the group did not encounter any other accidents, thanks to their painstaking efforts to avoid every Lingzi flesh mountain over 1,000 kilometers. Just as they passed a not-so-tall Heishi mountain range, the rather smooth-sailing fleet finally encountered an accident. What's going on? The warships of Song Zi and Song Wenbo disappeared as if out of thin air. In the warship communication group chat, the remaining 8 people's expressions darkened as they began to discuss. Just now, the 2 warships that had always been at the forefront of the fleet suddenly vanished without a trace. How so? Your magic energy detection radars didn't notice anything unusual either. Someone asked, yet the responses were uniform, with magic energy detection radars on all 8 warships detecting nothing unusual, neither purple nor orange. An escort ship and a cruiser disappeared just like that? Song Gang's expression turned grim, his tone gradually rising. Regarding this, Song Kai didn't respond, his eyes flickering as 7 thoughts in his mind intertwined, analyzing the possible reasons at a speed difficult to describe. It's impossible for something to just vanish into thin air. Either he entered a secret realm, as he had done before, or he was transported away, or there is some special spatial isolation technique that has split the space here in 2. Of these 3 possibilities, the second option can be directly eliminated. If he were transported away, they would have certainly detected spatial fluctuations, which they did not. With this realization, Song Kai frowned again. If it were the first or the third possibility, their earlier attempt to trigger the soldier figurine's exploration of the surrounding area multiple times should have activated it again. As he thought this, Song Chi's eyes suddenly flashed, and a spark of inspiration emerged from the depths of his mind. If indeed it were the second or third possibility, and if one wished to trigger it without an action, then such a secret realm or spatial isolation technique would be controlled by a living being. Thus, everything could be explained. With this theory in mind, he took the initiative to speak up in the group projection chat. Who has domain space-type special components? The others were not foolish either. Hearing his words, they quickly arrived at the same conclusion. A clan brother from the second direct lineage promptly activated a special component on his flagship. Soon, a ring of white light emerged from his flagship and began to quickly spread in all directions. In the end, the white light transformed into a special domain space spanning 10,000 meters. Within this domain space, the Kang Chong and the other 7 warships suddenly felt like they were mired in mud, facing the invisible suppression of the domain space, while the warship that had activated this domain space appeared as though it had become the dominator of this space. Before anyone could speak, the bow of the warship was already gathering a luminous energy, signifying the main cannon's charge. Seconds later, a purple beam erupted from the barrel of the main cannon. At the point of contact for the beam, ripples began to emerge, followed by a quiet appearance of a spatial vortex entrance which had previously been completely undetected by everyone. The entrance to the secret realm. Inside the Kang Chong, Song Chi's expression was unchanged, but internally he affirmed his guess. Shortly after, Several soldier figurines burst forth from the 8 warships, heading straight toward the massive secret realm entrance with a diameter close to 1,000 meters. As dozens of soldier figurines disappeared at the entrance of the secret realm, the remaining 8 people in the projection group chat showed different expressions. Song Kai, who witnessed this scene, had an immediate answer in his mind. Does Song Gang also have remote control type components? No sooner had this thought crossed his mind than Song Chi's attention swiftly shifted to another brainwave perspective of his. It seems to be a shattered secret realm. In the dim starry sky, an irregular floating land fragment floated. The fragment was not small, spanning over 1,000 kilometers in diameter, yet Song Kai could not afford to focus on these details right now. Above that floating land fragment, the flagships of Song Zi and Song Wenbo were being bombarded by dense swarms of blood shadows. Despite it being less than 2 minutes since they entered from the external world, the energy shields on the outer layer of the 2 flagships had already dimmed to their extreme, as if they were about to shatter completely the next moment. Outside, the voices of Song Kai and Song Gang in the communication group chat almost overlapped. "Quick, go in and help." As soon as they finished speaking, without waiting for the others to react, the Kang Chong and Night Port took the lead, charging directly toward the secret realm entrance thousands of meters away. Following, the 6 others, who had lost contact with their own soldier figurines and were unaware of the exact situation inside the secret realm, guessed that the situation of Song Zi and the others was probably not good and thus hurried after the Kang Chong and Night Port. After a brief spatial transition, Kang Chong and Night Port were the first to appear in this not-so-large broken secret realm. There was no time for them to survey the situation of the secret realm, as the 2 escort ships charged straight toward a fragment of floating land not far below. Before even getting close, the main and secondary cannons of the 2 warships opened fire, especially the electromagnetic ray cannon on Kang Chong, which rapidly bombarded the area around Song Zi's flagship, helping them continuously clear the dense blood crows surrounding them. Each electromagnetic thunderball with a lightning arc splash feature that exploded cleared a large number of blood crows. Even so, it was like trying to extinguish a burning cart with a cup of water. The number of these eerie blood crows seemed infinite. Only as the 2 warships gradually approached did Song Kai and his companion make out the specific appearance of these blood crows. They were not mere shadows but a species of crow with bodies entirely blood red. Of course, these were no ordinary birds. Aside from their extraordinary blood-colored bodies, what truly horrified Song Kai were the growing flesh buds on the blood crow's bodies, pulsating outward. A sight that could make one's scalp tingle on sight. Moreover, these flesh buds were not static. As they pulsed more intensely, they began to detach from the blood crow's bodies and madly surged towards Song Zi's warship. At this moment, under the dim energy shield of Song Zi's warship, the warship armor was also covered with these creepy flesh buds. Beep beep beep. As they gradually entered the magnetic field of the 2 warships below, Kang Chong immediately received a communication request from Song Zi's flagship. Upon establishing the connection, they saw the 2 with grim expressions urgently reminding them. "Be careful, don't get too close. These blood crows originate from a towering Sephora tree, which has a special domain capability. Once trapped within it, it's very difficult to escape. Also, ignore the blood crows. Focus on attacking the flesh Sephora below. We can hold on for a while longer." As they finished speaking, it seems Song Zi activated special components to repair the energy shield and warship armor, and the energy shield, which was nearly collapsing, was replenished significantly. Having heard their words, Song Kai and Song Gang each had a different expression. Song Chi's expression did not change much. The magic energy detection feature of the Silver 3 Generation Ultra-Wave Magic Energy Detection Radar allowed Kang Chong to detect the half-step 4th rank life energy fluctuation on the floating land fragment as soon as they entered the secret realm. He had known from the very beginning that there was a big creature on this piece of floating land fragment, but the obstruction by the large number of blood crows had prevented him from identifying what type of creature it was. Now, With Song Zi's words, it was clear that it was this so-called towering flesh Sephora. As for Song Gang, his eyes were full of astonishment, as he was obviously not aware of this before. Without hesitation, the two quickly turned the ship around, directing all ship cannons not at the Blood Crows but at the coordinates sent by Song Zi, unleashing round after round of firepower. The 6 warships that followed them also joined their offensive, and so, all 8 Torch warships focused their fire on a particular region of the floating land fragment, launching an omni-directional barrage. Perhaps receiving instructions from the Sephora below, the sky-darkening Blood Crows no longer targeted only Song Zi, but a large part of them began to assault the Kongchong and the other 7 Torch warships. It was with this diversion that Song Kai saw for the first time the towering flesh Sephora that had been hidden under the endless Blood Crows. This first glance startled him. In the display of the Silver 3 generation ultra-wave magic energy detection radar, it was merely a being of half-step 4th rank level, but what appeared before everyone was a grotesque Sephora tree that was over 10,000 meters tall. Not only was its size frightening, but its branches were also incredibly lush, with each branch bearing numerous red flesh pods. Cracks covered the surface of these flesh pods, from which an endless stream of Blood Crows continued to emerge. What on earth is this? With 10,000 meters in size, could it be a plant from the Starry Sea of the 5th rank level? Among the 8 warships, a clan member's voice was low and trembling. While they might possess combat power and temperaments beyond their peers, their experience was ultimately limited. The mere thought that this could be a plant of the 5th rank level made them unconsciously want to retreat. They knew very well that if it truly were a 5th rank plant, especially with the floating land origin rules of the evil Buddha continent enhancing it, they stood no chance at all. Hearing this unfounded statement, Song Gang on the side was about to rebuke when Song Bei, who had never initiated conversation, spoke up first. It's not as bad as it seems. This is the bloodthirsty vine Sephora, indeed a type of starspace plant, similar to the bloodthirsty vine. It grows by consuming the flesh and blood of living beings. Those growths on its branches that you called blood crow nests are where the bloodthirsty vine Sephora spawns blood crows. Song Bei's sudden explanation caught Song Kai and the others off guard, showing varying expressions of surprise, but he paid no attention to them and continued. Although this bloodthirsty vine Sephora stands 10,000 meters tall, it certainly has not reached the 5th rank level. Otherwise, Song Zi and his clan brother wouldn't last even 10 seconds in front of it. I guess that this bloodthirsty vine Sephora is limited by the secret realm beneath us. Chaotic laws in a broken secret realm simply cannot support its breakthrough to the 4th rank. Since it is also unable to move on its own, it remains at the edge of the 4th rank. As for its massive size, it's purely due to the consumption of a large amount of flesh and blood without being able to break through, thereby slowly accumulating over time. With this explanation, Song Kai and the others finally had a certain understanding of this eerie Sephora tree. On the other hand, Song Gang looked at Song Bei with a meaningful glance, then asked. Song Bei, brother of our clan, does this blood raven flesh locust have any fatal weaknesses? What do we need to be cautious of? From within the northern, the aged voice continued to echo in Song Bei's ears. The blood raven flesh locust doesn't have an expansive root system like other cosmic plants. Its combat power relies entirely on these blood ravens. Destroy the flesh nests on its branches, and it becomes a hedgehog without spines, utterly at the mercy of others. Remember, it relies on the power of blood and has formidable regenerative abilities. If you can't extinguish its life force in one strike, then we'd better honestly focus on those blood raven flesh nests. Song Bei relayed these words verbatim to Song Kai and the others, then added one more thing. Also, those flesh buds dropped by the blood ravens have features like corrosion and armor break. The more there are, the stronger their effects. If possible, try to avoid getting too many of them on you. Song Zi and the other clan brothers should also withdraw sooner rather than later, or it will become very troublesome. In the group communications chat, everyone exchanged looks and eventually nodded in unison, deciding to trust Song Bei, a clan brother whose presence wasn't very strong. Following that, Song Gang also said immediately, "In that case, let everyone target those blood raven flesh nests for attack, fire at will." The muzzles of the various torch warships swiveled, bombarding the flesh tumors on the branches below. The blood raven flesh locust had an astonishing size, and the spread of its branches was likewise unusually vast, which in turn resulted in an extremely alarming number of blood raven flesh nests. However abundant they may be, they couldn't withstand such concentrated fire. The escort ships managed fairly well, considering they only had a main cannon and 4 secondary cannons. Some didn't even have that many secondary cannons. But the 2 cruisers were different. As everyone knows, when a torch warship upgrades from an escort ship to a cruiser, although only 1 more slot for a main cannon is added, the slots for secondary cannons do not change, still totaling 4. Compared to their time as escort ships, these 4 slots for secondary cannons are vastly different. Every slot will project 10 modular images. In other words, by mounting a single secondary cannon on a cruiser, it immediately generates 9 identical projections, effectively becoming 10 secondary cannons of the same type. With 4 such cannons, that amounts to 40 in total. Therefore, even with just 2 cruisers attacking the Blood Raven Flesh Locust below, in addition to the escort ships, there were already over 100 ship cannons continuously bombarding the Blood Raven Flesh Locust at that moment. Hence, no matter how many Blood Raven flesh nests it grew, they were insufficient in the face of such assault. As time passed, the number of tumors on it rapidly diminished, and simultaneously, the number of blood ravens in the skies above the floating land fragment also steadily decreased. Feeling the threat, the myriad-meter-tall flesh tree on the floating land fragment began to flash with blood light. Numerous branches started to violently sway. Heeding the call of their origin, the still numerous remaining blood ravens began to turn back, no longer pursuing and attacking the various torch warships. Apart from this, Song Z and the other, who had been restricted by the special domain force of the Blood Raven Flesh Locust, seemed to be no longer affected. Their warships began to ascend rapidly. Within this brief span, the Blood Raven Flesh Locust underwent a dramatic change. Countless blood ravens circled above its branches while a special, red hemispherical shield began to condense or rather, contract, above it. Above this red hemispherical shield flowed the force of blood mysteries, emitting strong 4th-rank energy fluctuations. This was the domain ability previously deployed by the Blood Raven Flesh Locust. Previously, it had maximized its domain to restrict and control hostile units. Now, facing significant threat, it concentrated the domain force into something similar to a domain law shield as a means to defend against the subsequent attacks from Song Kai and the others. This Blood Raven Flesh Locust itself is at half-step 4th rank and bolstered by level 7 floating land origin law rules, possessing the combat power of a seasoned 4th rank. Of course, such enhancement by the origin rules cannot raise its comprehension of the power of laws, so there is still a significant gap compared to the true peak of the 4th rank. Song Z, who had just rejoined the team, couldn't wait to speak up in the communications chat. However, if it focuses entirely on defense, killing it won't be easy. I'm afraid it might take at least a few days. What are everyone's thoughts? Do we stay here and slowly grind it down, or do we move on to Blood's end state first? After much consideration, the final vote generated some division. Out of 10 people, 3 expressed a desire to completely eradicate the Blood Raven Flesh Locust before leaving, while the other 7 were more inclined to deal with the evil Zen temple first. To Song Chi's surprise, Song Bei was actually among those 3. However, what he didn't know was that at that moment, Song Bei's ears were being persistently nagged by the elderly voice. "Young Bei, what are you hesitating for? Call everyone to action. This Blood Raven Flesh Locust is incredibly rare. Its Blood Locust Heartwood is a top-rank life-extending sacred object. Even if this locust is only at half-step 4th rank, it could still extend life by about 100 years. If you come across someone in desperate need, it might even fetch a price equal to those of an orange top-quality fire source up rank or even a red component. Song Bei was somewhat puzzled by this. Teacher, is there a need to be this anxious? This thing doesn't have legs. It hasn't been able to leave this secret realm for countless years, so why would it just happen to run away in these 2 months? Hearing his doubts, the elderly voice became even more aggravated. Don't you think your old teacher understands that? The key point is that the entrance to the outer secret realm has been revealed, and the Blood Raven Flesh Locust's aura can no longer be hidden. Be it the evil Buddha clan or the various miscreants and evil spirits that sprouted on this strange continent, all would covet the Blood Raven Flesh Locust. Wait 2 more months, and you won't even get a sip of the soup. As Song Bei revealed the function of the Blood Elm Heart from the Blood Elm Tree, everyone's strategy changed accordingly. They still decided to thoroughly exterminate the Bloodrook Flesh Elm first and then proceed to the Blood Zen Temple. Furthermore, concerning the subsequent Blood Elm Heart, Song Bei would have priority to choose. If he wanted it, he would have to make up the corresponding price difference. In the days that followed, Song Kai and the other 9 people piloted the Torch warship to unleash a full-scale barrage on the Law Domain barrier below, and the result goes without saying. The Kongchong had Shadowbreaker cannons with attributes that weakened shield values, and the other 9 warships were similarly equipped. Under the barrage of various attacks with shield-breaking and armor-breaking attributes, and considering the Bloodrook Flesh Elm was only half-step 4th rank, even with the Floating Land Origin rules enhancement and possessing regular 4th rank combat power, its law comprehension couldn't be faked. With the accumulation of numerous factors, the Bloodrook Flesh Elm had no choice but to be completely obliterated. The Blood Elm Heart was naturally taken by Song Bei at the first opportunity, and the price difference he made up was 126 strands of 4th rank Floating Land Origin and an additional 900 strands of 3rd rank Floating Land Origin. The other 9 people received 14 strands of 4th rank and 100 strands of 3rd rank Floating Land Origin each. This outcome satisfied everyone. According to the Floating Land Origin that Song Bei had provided, he had paid the price of an orange top quality fire source up rank, which would be roughly worth 300 points of golden merit in the family merit hall, an amount that was not small. In addition, besides the Blood Elm Heart, there was also a half-step 4th rank life crystal and the entire Blood Elm Tree itself, though these were not highly valued. After submitting them to their family, the spoils would be divided up later. The greatest gain was the secret realm itself beneath their feet. Even though it was a broken secret realm, whether it was taken as a concealed base for the family on the evil Buddha continent or brought back to the Dragonspine continent as a foundation for the family, this was a significant contribution, and the family would surely award compensation later on. Okay, we have informed the family through the Torch network, so we don't need to worry about this. Let's go directly to the Blood Zen state. The 10 set off once more. In the Kongchong main control room, Song Kai felt somewhat emotional within his heart. The reason they had managed to kill the half-step 4th rank Bloodrook Flesh Elm so easily this time was because they actually occupied many invisible advantages. For instance, the enemy couldn't move, and since the endless Bloodrooks couldn't inflict serious damage on the swiftly moving Torch warships, their target could only defend passively. And for the Torch warship, which was not short on long-range firepower, this was the biggest advantage. Additionally, the law in this damaged secret realm was incomplete, weakened countless times compared to that in the shattered Starry Sea, which also meant the trace of law power that the Bloodrook Flesh Elm had comprehended was a weakened version, greatly reducing its combat ability. Therefore, although Song Kai felt joy, he didn't have an ounce of contempt for the 2 half-step 4th rank figures from the evil Buddha clan in the evil Zen temple. Those 2 were not such easy targets but had the genuine battle power of the peak of the 4th rank, backed up by origin rules. Even though they couldn't compare to true 4th rank beings in terms of law comprehension, one must not forget that they were also aided by special Buddhist instruments, which should not be disregarded. In the cultivation and fantasy novels from his past life, magic artifacts and treasured instruments were always a crucial element. Blood Zen State was located in the southern region of the 100 Arms domain, while Evil Zen Temple, as the strongest force of the evil Buddha clan in Blood Zen State, was situated in the heartland. Ancient and suspended into the mountainside, this Buddha temple only revealed an old stone gate inscribed with ancient Buddha scripts to the outside world. On the stone gate, the unique characters of the evil Buddha clan that read, "Evil Buddha Temple," glowed with a faint blood light. Thousands of miles away, 10 torch warships lay hidden in the void. Looking at the image of the evil Buddha temple projected in the screen, the 10 torch warships were like 10 hunters lying in wait, silently accumulating their most ferocious attacks for what was to come. They had arrived on the outskirts of the evil Buddha temple 2 days prior and hadn't rushed to attack, waiting for Song Gang's search results. The night port had a special component known as Curiosity Seeker, capable of searching for starry sea oddities at a long distance in a targeted manner. However, this component's activation time was not long on each use, and the search area for each session was limited. Moreover, with the evil Buddha temple ahead filled with a thick and strange Buddha power, under this interference, the search range of Curiosity Seeker was even more limited. After 2 days, it had only managed to survey 1/3 of the temple's interior. Despite this, Song Kai and the others weren't in a hurry. If they could pinpoint the location of the Buddha Sharira first, spending some extra time was no issue, as it would significantly increase their chances of success in their subsequent actions. Moreover, Song Zi and the others also had other preparations to make. 5 days later, an excited voice came from Song Gang aboard the night port. "Found it. The Buddha Sharira is located inside the temple on the left side at coordinates 4x, 4x. Upon receiving the coordinates, everyone turned their attention to their cousin Song Wenbo, who was tasked with entering the evil Buddha temple to search. Seeing Song Wenbo nod, Song Zi at the center of the 10 warships wasted no time. "Now that we've established the target's location, let's take action tomorrow, to avoid unnecessary risks." "All right." Brilliant beams of light streaked across the sky like meteors, creating a spectacular rainbow against the dark, blood-red vault of heaven. Om Mani Padme Hum. The thunderous chanting of the mantra emanated continuously from the thousands of meters high green stone temple gate, resounding with the cycles of karma. Swastika. In the main hall of the Buddha temple, the kilometer-tall evil Buddha seated upon a skin cushion abruptly opened his closed eyes, and at the same time, a curse seal condensed behind him, driven by the infinite Buddha power around him. It shot straight towards the temple gate at the rear. Outside the green stone temple gate, under the blessing of the infinite Buddha power, the swastika Buddha incantation swelled rapidly to several kilometers wide and met the barrage of artillery energy beams numbered in the hundreds. The terrifying energy continued to spill outwards, distorting the entire void under the frighteningly high temperature. No matter how strong the swastika Buddha incantation was, it wouldn't possibly withstand the simultaneous bombardment of over 100 artillery fires, even with the blessing of Buddha power that the evil Buddha temple had accumulated for thousands of years. In the second of the standoff, it collapsed, and the residual might of the artillery fire wholly penetrated the green stone temple gate. Boom! Stones shattered everywhere, followed by countless wails of agony. Even though the swastika Buddha incantation had neutralized much of the artillery's might, the remaining power of the numerous artillery fires was not to be underestimated. Buddha's light surged, and 2-kilometer-tall members of the evil Buddha clan charged out from the temple. They stood high in the sky, radiating vast amounts of Buddha power from within themselves, and the anger was raging in their eyes, which had been indifferent for centuries. Bloody sun devouring embryo Buddha, disturbing the serenity of our temple, should be eternally imprisoned in Buddha prison. Cold characters floated by, followed by the churning of the winds and clouds in the vault of heaven. Wrapped in the endless Buddha power, 2 blood-red 6-armed evil Buddha apparitions began to converge above the forms of the 2 half-step 4th-rank evil Buddhas. Thousands of miles away, the 6 people, including Song Kai, Song Zi, Song Gang, and Song Bei, aboard their flagships, had already revealed themselves and were now lightly shaking. The temple had been mysteriously attacked, which seemed to have trampled on the dignity of the 2 evil Buddhas. They were intent on making Song Kai and his team pay the price, so they immediately revealed their peak of the fourth rank pressure. Under this astonishing pressure, even though separated by thousands of miles, Song Chi's group's flagships were still interfered with. 6 armed blood Arhat golden body apparitions, everyone be careful, they seem to be going all out. After finishing speaking, the 6 warships, as if they had previously agreed upon it, simultaneously turned and swiftly retreated. Of course, even though they were fleeing, the ship cannons of the 6 warships didn't forget to fire, continuously bombarding the 2 evil Buddhas wrapped in the Arhat's golden body apparition. Inside Kang Chong, Song Chi's eyes revealed a trace of joy. As they had expected, those 2 evil Buddhas were not willing to just watch them leave. Buddha power swirled around them, transforming into 2 afterimages chasing after them. After the 6 warships and the 2 half-step 4th rank evil Buddhas disappeared from view, Song Wenbo and the other 3, concealed in the shadows, didn't rush to reveal themselves. They waited another 10 minutes until Song Kai and the others had led the 2 half-step 4th rank evil Buddhas far enough away. Only then did the 4 warships quickly dash out, heading straight for the evil Buddha temple. Apart from them, 6 strange 3rd rank level sinister spirits and evil fallen beings emerged from the surrounding countryside. These were the beings Song Zi and the others had enslaved over the past few days. They would soon follow the 4 warships and assault the dozens of remaining 3rd rank members of the evil Buddha clan in the evil Buddha temple. Wu. Among the 6 enslaved beings, there was a 3rd rank level, vengeful female spirit, who was now emitting a piercing wail toward the temple's stone gate. This vengeful female spirit was also a native creature of the evil Buddha continent and naturally had the blessing of the floating land origin rules. With this blessing, her wailing had the power to capture souls, nearly crossing into the 4th rank, causing most of the evil Buddha clan in the evil Zen temple, despite being protected by infinite Buddha power, to be affected. After all, only a few in the evil Buddha temple were 3rd rank evil Buddhas. The majority were 1st and 2nd rank. Meanwhile, Song Wenbo and the other 3 took the opportunity to release the puppet soldier figurines from their warships. These figurines were all pseudo 4th rank, and upon entering the evil Buddha temple, they immediately began the slaughter of the 1st and 2nd rank evil Buddhas. Finally, the 3rd rank members of the evil Buddha clan could no longer stay put. Although the influence of the soul capturing on them was limited, they could not eliminate the effect it had on the members of their race below. One by one, the 3rd rank evil Buddha clan members burst out of the Buddha temple, heading straight for the resentful female ghost. Seeing this, Song Wenbo and his 3 companions would not let them do as they wished. The 4 warships split into 2 groups, with 3 defending the area around the resentful female ghost, engaging in a melee with the dozens of incoming 3rd rank evil Buddha clan members. On the other side, Song Wenbo activated a special component on his flagship, and quickly, the warship disappeared on the spot, reappearing already inside the evil Buddha temple. Now, let's turn to the battlefield where Kang Chong and the other 6 warships were entangled with the 2 half-step 4th rank members of the evil Buddha clan. Buddha's light sparkled, and the true word principle of the Buddha flickered in the void. With each strike delivered by the 6 armed Arhat's golden body apparition, the energy shields of the torch warships in front of them dimmed significantly. Inside Kang Chong, the warship is under attack. Current energy shield value is at 52%, warship armor damaged by 18%, please repair as soon as possible. Since the 6 armed Arhat apparitions were also condensed from energy, their attacks could not ignore the energy shields of the torch warships, which was undoubtedly good news for Song Kai and his team of 6. However, that was about it. The source laws of the evil Buddha continent were more formidable than they had anticipated. Attacks at the peak of the 4th rank level could deplete an unimaginably high amount of shield value every time. It was only because Song Chi's Kang Chong was equipped with the Immortal Realm 5 Elements Celestial Energy Shield of silver quality, combined with the recovery feature of the Neutron Star Core Armor, that it was able to maintain 52% of its shield value after 2 minutes. Song Zi's flagship, which had been responsible for the first round of engagement, had activated its repair components 30 seconds earlier, and now its energy shield value was almost depleted, with his voice just having called out for Song Gang to replace him in the communication group chat. On his end, Song Kai, who was utilizing sevenfold mind utilization, estimated the two components on Song Zi's flagship. It should be an orange energy shield of level 45 or higher, plus a purple warship armor of level 49. With the answer in mind, his focus quickly returned to controlling Kang Chong to continue entangling with the half-step 4th rank members of the evil Buddha clan. Although he could have had another clan member come to take over, he did not do so because the longer he held on, the greater his contribution would naturally be. Of course, the key factor was that Kang Chong was still holding strong, with 52% of the shield value and the red warship armor almost 80% intact, fully capable of enduring for some more time. Not far on the side, Night Port, which had replaced Song Zi's position, did not proceed like Song Kai and Song Zi. Instead, the bow of the ship suddenly turned, a special ram replacing the main cannon, before brutally slamming into the evil Buddha clan member it was facing. This sudden head-on collision caught the half-step 4th rank evil Buddha clan member off guard and also inflicted a certain amount of damage. Time went by, and quickly more than 2 minutes passed. Seeing that the shield value of the Immortal Realm 5 Elements Celestial Energy Shield had fallen below 10%, Song Kai actively withdrew from the field, allowing the designated clan brother to take over. With the Neutron Star Core Pulse feature, Kang Chong's energy shield value could recover by 4% every 20 seconds. Even if he was given just 2 minutes, it would recover 24%, which, together with the earlier remaining amount, could easily exceed 30%. He naturally would not let it overload easily. A minute and a half later, a sudden change occurred on the battlefield. It seemed that the two half-step 4th rank members of the evil Buddha clan had received a transmission from the evil Zen temple or something, as they suddenly stopped entangling with the 6 warships. Surging Buddha power abruptly erupted around them. A powerful wave of energy blasted the 6 warships thousands of kilometers away, while they themselves retreated, heedless, in the direction from which they had come. Seeing this, Song Zi's urgent voice came through the communication group chat. Song Bei, hurry. Without needing his reminder, seeing the 2 evil Buddha clan members about to leave, Song Bei and another clan brother fired a beam of light from their warships. *********** P greater than. The result was apparent. Perhaps under the influence of the evil Buddha continent's source laws, the effect was not as strong as before, but the ability to bind the 2 evil Buddha clan members for a moment was still feasible. With that brief pause, it was enough for the Night Port to re-engage with the adversary. Anger. Familiar curse words emanated from the mouths of the 2 members of the evil Buddha clan, who were half-step 4th rank. If this had happened when Song Kai and his companions first arrived on the evil Buddha continent, it might have been effective. These curse words could captivate the hearts and minds of the people. But not anymore. Now, everyone was inside the warship, each protected by defensive components that had been enhanced to at least 4th rank. Additionally, those who uttered these Buddha's incantations were only half-step 4th rank members of the evil Buddha clan, not true 4th rank beings like before. Therefore, the anger curse word failed to affect anyone this time. The Night Port continued its persistent harassment unabated. What Song Kai and the others did not know was that during their fierce entanglement, the 2 half-step 4th rank members of the evil Buddha clan received a second summons from the Blood Zen temple. It was this second call that made them completely lose the intention to entangle with the 6 warships further. Infinite Buddha power was boiling over. Then suddenly, the Buddha beads engraved with numerous Buddha's incantations flew out of their hands, appearing at an indiscernibly fast speed near the 2 Night Port warships. Be careful. The sudden change caused the complexions of the 4 following individuals to shift drastically, but the string of Buddha beads, heavily endowed with the Buddha power, allowed no time for reaction. The phalanx beads abruptly contracted, tightly binding the 2 warships. Inside the Night Port, Song Gang tried to activate the warship's engines with all his might, but it was utterly useless. The constrictive force of the phalanx beads was astonishingly strong, and they could not easily break free. I don't believe it. With a cold snort, Song Gang hastily activated another escaping space component aboard the night port. However, this purple component, which had rescued him from danger many times before, showed no effect in causing even the slightest deviation, even though it had already been activated. The space around the two warships seemed to have been frozen. No matter what methods they employed, they couldn't break free. In their anxiety, the 6 armed blood Arhats positioned above the 2 half-step 4th-rank Evil Buddha clan members raised their arms high, each hand materializing a large energy orb where Buddha power and the true word principles converged. Swish 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 swish. With a flap of the 6 arms, the 6 orbs, each with the might of a peak 4th rank, also thundered down simultaneously. The Buddha's light illuminated everything. Under this terrifying method, a radius of tens of thousands of miles was enveloped in a sea of Buddha's light. Inside the night port, Song Gang's complexion had already turned extremely somber. This horrifying attack instinctively made his heart tremble, and he couldn't guarantee that he would survive these 6 volleys of law orbs with the night port's current defenses. Regardless, he still had to try with all his might. With a shift in thought, the night port's orange warship armor, which had been enhanced to 4th rank, activated its active defense feature. It was clearly visible that a thick and gleaming special armor layer rapidly coalesced around the hull of the night port. In contrast to the night port, the clan sibling who took over for Song Kai was in an even worse state. His complexion was ashen, as the night port, at least, had 4th rank orange warship armor. However, his flagship was only equipped with purple warship armor. Even though he had enhanced to the rank of 4th rank, there was still a fundamental difference between orange and purple. The night port might have a small chance of withstanding this terrifying attack, but his flagship definitely could not, especially since its energy shield had only 20% left. However, just at that moment, in the Kongchong main control room, Song Chi's eyes suddenly narrowed. Now is the time. He virtually roared these 4 words in his heart, and at the same time, a faint spatial fluctuation stealthily emanated from the void behind the 2 half-step 4th rank members of the Evil Buddha clan. The 2 members of the Evil Buddha clan were shocked. They sensed the anomaly behind them and immediately began to circulate their Buddha power and the true word principle of Buddhism, hoping to react, but it was clearly already too late. An embodiment of the Void Demon, inscribed with ancient totem patterns on its body, holding a Ruins Market walking rank in its left hand and clenching a space law blade in its right, burst forth from the void, striking directly at one of the 2 members of the Evil Buddha clan. Being 4th rank plus totem true body plus Ruins Market law enhancement plus its innate space law power, the multi-layered enhancements made the Void Demon not far from the peak of the 4th rank. Moreover, having the element of surprise, how could the Evil Buddha clan member avoid this all-out strike? The target of Song Chi's attack was the one who had taken over from his clan brother. As the Void Demon struck suddenly, the half-step 4th rank member of the Evil Buddha clan, who had not managed to defend himself, was seriously injured, and large amounts of dark Evil Buddha blood spilled out. Influenced by the attack on his clone, the illusion of the 6 armed Arhat's golden body also abruptly dissipated, and as a result, naturally saved his clan brother from having to face that direct hit. In the void demon retreated immediately after the strike, ready to disengage from the void and strike again under Song Chi's brainwave command. However, intense energy fluctuations were now coming from the night port, and while the half-step 4th rank member of the Evil Buddha clan was disrupted by the void demon and failed to make his move, the attacks on the night port continued unabated. At that moment, the night port was enduring unimaginable bombardment. Its outer energy shield shattered instantly, completely overloaded, and even the orange warship armor's protective layer, formed by active defense, started to fracture with each successive strike. After 6 explosions, the illusion of the 6 armed Arhat's golden body finally completed the last attack. Looking at the night port, the original streamlined, vibrant armor layer was now shattered beyond recognition, and even the hull had several gaping holes blasted into it. Without a doubt, the night port had completely lost its combat capability at this point, but luckily, at least the warship itself had not sunk and could be slowly repaired later on. Another piece of good news was that after this strike, both warships had finally escaped the bindings of the fingerbone Buddha beads and returned to the fleet. Song Chi's gaze shifted. He caught a fleeting glimpse of coldness in Song Gang's eyes, which was undoubtedly directed at him. The reason was clear to him. He had just chosen not to help him, instead targeting another half-step fourth-rank member of the evil Buddha clan. This was resentment towards him. Shaking his head with a smile, he couldn't be bothered to care. In that situation, he had simply made what he felt was the most appropriate choice, and if the other party resented him for it, then all he could say was, "If it makes you happy, then good." Of course, not caring did not mean he would take it lying down if the other party deliberately targeted him because of this. He certainly would not be polite. What did it matter if the other party came from an ancestral vein or had a background no worse than Song Zi? Not dwelling on these thoughts, Song Kai and Song Zi maneuvered their warship forward, ready to continue their entanglement with the two members of the evil Buddha clan. Suddenly, the seed of torch in everyone's ancestral aperture between their brows simultaneously trembled. "Stop chasing. Wen Bo has accomplished his mission and successfully retreated. Our task is complete." In an instant, a long sigh of relief welled up in everyone's hearts. However, Song Kai had different thoughts as his mind whirled. No one knew better than he did that the half-step fourth-rank evil Buddha clan member had just been severely damaged by the Void Demon, and if they pursued now, there was a high probability they could completely eliminate it. But just then, from the end of the sky to the side, a vast Buddha light appeared, followed by an indescribable life pressure that spread all the way. Even within the warship, protected by the energy shield and the physical separation of the warship armor, everyone still felt a great heaviness bearing down on them, as if they were carrying a huge stone on their backs. Song Kai felt the same, extremely uncomfortable. Although he had already experienced pressures in that Tri-Eye race's ancient flagship that were countless times more terrifying, it had always been by remotely controlling puppets. He himself had never faced such pressure directly. In the warship group chat, Song Zi spoke with a grave voice. "Fifth rank life pressure, that's from the direction of the 100 Arms Buddha sect. Very likely a fourth rank evil Buddha clan member of theirs is heading here. We need to leave quickly." No sooner had he finished speaking than he took the lead in maneuvering the flagship to turn around, heading without the slightest hesitation towards the transposition point at the rear flank. The others quickly followed suit, and Song Kai likewise abandoned any other thoughts. After all, if it really was support arriving from the fourth-rank evil Buddha clan of the 100 Arms Buddha sect, endowed with fifth-rank combat power by the Floating Land Origin Law enhancement, and moreover not an ordinary fifth rank but an experienced fifth rank, then even if the Kang Chong were caught, the probable outcome would be its utter demise. Naturally, he wouldn't go and deliberately court such misfortune. Millions of miles away, in the main control room of the Kang Chong, which trailed behind the swiftly speeding fleet, Song Chi's eyes suddenly widened as though he had seen some unbelievable scene. Indeed, that was the case. In another image in his mind, in the direction from where the fifth-rank life pressure had emanated, behind a towering mountain range, a 3,000-meter-tall evil Buddha clan member stood erect in the vault of heaven. Contrary to what Song Zi had said, this fourth-rank evil Buddha clan member was not hurrying towards the evil Zen temple, but rather stood quietly in the vault of heaven. Buddha power flowed all over its body, and above its head, in the open sky, numerous fully solidified true word principle incantations shone brightly. But what Song Chi's attention was focused on was not these elements, it was the region that the gaze of this fourth-rank evil Buddha clan member was unwaveringly fixed upon. It was clearly empty, with nothing there, and yet the evil Buddha clan member stared fixedly at that spot, as if watching a formidable enemy. "The 100 Arms Buddha sect is passing through. Evil spirits and the fallen, please disperse. Afterwards, a tribute of 100,000 fresh blood meals will be offered up." As it spoke, seemingly to verify its identity, Infinite Buddha power circulated around its body, and the being rapidly swelled in size, soon turning into an 8-armed Arhat of 5,000 meters. As the Arhat's golden body revealed itself, the 5th rank energy pressure radiating from its body's surface became even more astonishing. Hiding deep within the void gap, Song Kai could feel an additional layer of oppression weighing on the void demon. Still, that was not the focal point. In the area that the 4th rank evil Buddha clan member had been staring at, a frost-white kilometer-long warship slowly emerged into view. "It's a torch warship," Song Kai muttered, but in the next second, the voice that came from the frost-white cruiser was even more surprising. "The 100 Arms Buddha sect will soon be history, and as for you, whether you go after my clansmen or return now, you probably won't be able to do it." At these words, Song Kai immediately realized that the torch ship captain within this cruiser was likely a fellow clansman. Their task must have been to prevent this 4th rank evil Buddha clan member from pursuing the 10 of them, or to rush back directly to the 100 Arms Buddha sect. But what confused Song Kai was the following. Where did this 3rd rank family member find the courage to intercept an evil Buddha clan member with 5th rank combat power all by themselves? Or could it be that this person is from the leading generation of our family? While he pondered, the 4th rank evil Buddha clan member in the sky had the same thought. To an enemy that only emitted 3rd rank energy fluctuations in its perception, it gave little regard. With the 8 arms waving, boundless true word principles of the Buddha reflected around it, and the next second, the space around the unknown cruiser was completely enveloped by a multitude of Buddha's incantations, resembling a grand true word cage, sealing the cruiser inside it. Om Mani Padme Hum. Then the 6-character mantra echoed from its mouth. 6 blood-colored incantations carrying formidable 5th rank power surged towards the true word cage, seeking to suppress it. Song Chi's heart tightened, but in the next second, he witnessed a moment he would never forget for the rest of his life. The true word cage suddenly cracked inch by inch, and the cruiser inside quickly reappeared, but this time it had turned from a streamlined kilometer-long warship into a kilometer-tall mech giant. The giant held an ice blade in hand, and around the mecha, the phantom of a frost-white dragon-spine tyrant whale swam menacingly. As the mech giant raised its arm, the frost-white dragon-spine tyrant whale phantom charged towards the 6 blood-colored 6-character mantra curses that were bearing down. Boom. 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 Under the terrifying clash of energies, Song Kai only saw the world turn into 2 colors. One was the realm of frost, and the other the domain of the golden true word principles of the Buddha. The frost formed 1/5, and the golden light enveloped the remaining 4/5, which meant that the 4th rank evil Buddha clan member had the absolute advantage.